Hello, class.
Hello, receiving teachers and students and class. Thank you. You may be seated. Teachers, we are still on the same strand. Living things, substrand, ecology, relationships, and interaction. Our outcome is the same outcome to 7.2.2. Interpret, discuss, and discuss relationships that exist in the community, using a food web to show human activity in a community. All right. Before we go into our topic, you were given your charts to work on. Let's show by raising our hands for those groups who have finished. Very well. Many groups today have finished. Okay. Now, let's have a look at, just go through what you should have done or may have done for your chart. Example, this information is not real. This is an example. You will use your data, or you have used your data that you have collected. Okay, this is a table of the living things that we have, an example of the living things tables. We have about 4 living things. So we have first organism is black ants, frogs, honeybee, and coach grass. Now, on the right column, on my right-hand column, which is number of living things, we have many, 2, 3, and many. This is an example. With this information, you put that information in a column graph similar to this. If you have done something like this, very good. Okay, the scale is from 0 to 10. At the top we have 10 and more because grass is many and we cannot count the grass. So we say 10 and many. So on this table here, okay, yes, ants, thank you. We have the 4 living things that we identified. We have the black ants, which is first on the table here, and also first on the column graph, black ants. So ants, there were many, more than 10. So on the column graph, it is drawn up to 10, and the scale reads 10 and more. So which means that black ants is more, or was more when the area was studied. The second one is frog, which has only 2 shown on the column graph and also on the table, which is the second list. So this is an example. If you have done something similar to this or any other, but you should have something similar, a bar graph and a table like this. So if you have done that, very good. So let's see, for those groups who have finished, can someone in the group just hold it up and explain in one sentence your group work?
The area that we studied was the nursery garden down there, and this is the amount of living things that we study, and this was the name of the living things that we gathered in our books.
So how many living things did you identify in your area that you studied?
10 tulip flowers, 8 lettuce, and 6 cabbages, 5 honeybees, 4 pawpaw trees, and small turrets.
Thank you very much. Give them 2 claps. All right. Most of your groups have finished. So you will hand it after the lesson, or I will collect it. All right, there are 2 questions also that were given. Question 1, which animal that you studied in that area is more than the rest from your table? All right, Ruthie's group.
Which animal or insect species has a much greater population? Red ants.
We're on the column graph. Red ants.
Red ants.
The answer is red ants. Why were there, the next question is, why were there more red ants than the others?
Because the lawn is dry and this kind of red ants like to live there. The red ants like to live under dry ground and live on dead things.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your group's work and your answer. Be seated. All right, our topic for today. Who can give us a guess? What is our topic for today? Oh, okay, we already picked climate, so we'll come up.
Sea community.
All right, today our topic is sea community. Thank you, Clement. Sea community, we'll be looking at sea community. Sea is a very, very large area. And we will look at 4 areas of the sea community. So our activity today, we will look at the pictures of animals, which I will show you of some of the animals in the sea. And if you have brought some of the pictures of animals or living things in the sea, very good, thank you. Put it on your table. You will use that also. You will list the names of the living things into 4 groups. 4 groups or 4 zones of the ocean. Okay, take note of these 4 zones. Receiving students, take note of the 4 zones. Class teachers, please. There are 4 zones we will look at in our lesson today. Number 1, we will look at Intertidal Zone. Intertidal Zone. This zone or intertidal zone is closest to the shore. It is closest to the shore. And it is covered by water or the sea during high tide. But when it is low tide, that area is exposed to the sun. So what kind of living things do you think we will find in that area? Second area is near shore zone. This zone is near the water. The light or the sunlight can reaches the bottom of the ocean floor. And here where this near shore zone is contains, it has a lot of living things. This is where you find a lot of fish, variety of living things. Open sea zone contains mostly very tiny plants. You can only see them through a microscope, and they float around in the sea. And we have fish, lots of fish, swimming around freely. The last area of the ocean is deep sea zone. This zone is at the bottom of the ocean. It is very dark, and a very few creatures live there. And there are no plants or very few plants in the deep sea zone. Okay, now there are blank papers I would like you to give. Teachers, you may provide blank papers for that. Students, I would like you to distribute, get one and pass the rest. Once you get your paper, divide the paper into 4 equal parts. All right, you should divide your paper. Now have your paper divided in half. In half. You should have half. The paper should be divided in half already. Okay, now divide half the paper, fold in half again. Unfold, and you should have boundaries marked, and you have equal space. For each little rectangle, you write 1 zone. That is the 4 zones that I mentioned. Intertidal zone, near shore zone, open ocean zone, and deep sea zone. So 1 zone in each area of the paper. Yes. So you should have it like this. Your paper is folded, or boundaries are given on paper. So you divide that, you may have this as intertidal zone. And then you have near shore zone, and you can complete the rest. I'll give it 10 seconds. It's not a big task. Good, good. Some are very fast. That's the way. Good. We all finished. Let's have a look at some of the pictures you have brought. This group here has brought some pictures. You didn't put it up. If you have yours there, you put it in front. So they brought a picture of the coral reef. And also some fish. Pictures of some fish. 1, 2, 3 pictures of some fish. Okay. Now if you have brought the pictures, try to discuss with your friend and find their, or identify their names. Right, I have some, and some have brought samples, I think. Yes, very good. One group there has brought samples of shells. Thank you. Okay, where do you think those things that you have brought and the pictures that you have brought with you also, where do you think they are found in one of those 4 zones? Whether it is intertidal, near sea zone, open sea zone, or deep sea zone. So you discuss with your friend and list it down in one of them. Write their names down, or you can draw that. All right. Let's go to our activity. Let's go through the pictures that I have here. Then you can look at your objects that you have brought with you after we go through our pictures. So receiving students and teachers, please have a look at these pictures. Identify them. you will be given a minute for the picture to discuss with you and your friend and identify where you will place them under. Here is our first picture. You have 1 minute. You can discuss with your friend and discuss where it is found. You got 1 minute? Write it on the paper that you have divided. The picture is about a jellyfish. So where would you put jellyfish under? Which zone? Intertidal zone or open sea zone, near seashore zone or deep sea zone? 1 minute. 1 minute for one picture. It's on there. So our next picture, there are two different pictures. One is of a sailfish, one is tuna that is used to make tin fish for you.
Deep sea zone means it's found in the deep sea.
It's found in the deep ocean, and in deep sea zone there is very little light, no light or no sunlight, and it is at the bottom of the ocean, the surface of the ocean, and then when you go down deep into the ocean there is no light. No light cannot go through there, and there are no plants or very, very tiny microscopic. All right, for the students, our friends in Eastern Highlands and some who are watching in the highland areas or inland, you may ask, your teacher may assist you, and you may also have friends from the coast, or some of you have been to the coast, or you have gone through books or seen that on film. You may discuss and get that as a group and say and write it on your papers, down on your list. All right, our third picture also has two pictures on one. One is a fat sea urchin, and one is of sea sponge. Our next picture. It is a lobster. Less food for them to feed on. Do you think you will find it there? Do you think they live in dark places or where there is light and enough for them? Why do you think they're there? Right. So check, yes. Good. Some are writing that down in the correct places. Some are discussing well. Our next picture. Spiked sea cucumber. There are varieties of sea cucumbers, but this is one type which has body surface with spikes or like little horns growing on them. So this is one type of sea cucumber. Our next picture. Again, this is one type of seaweed. There are many kinds of seaweeds, varieties, but this is one type of seaweed that you have a look at.
This one is a near shore, is like where the beach is. It's the intertidal, yeah, kind of like trying to see. So intertidal, what I mean is like it's near the shore.
Yeah.
And this was after the intertidal.
Order. Our next picture is of a whale shark. It is very huge, very big. Sometimes the size may be the same size of a whale. Our last picture. Nautilus. It's kind of a shell creature. right, let's have a look at our 4 groups or 4 zones of animals that we have listed down. Intertidal zone is next to the, near the shoreline. It's near the shoreline. After the intertidal zone is the near shore zone. This is like I described earlier. It is further out and where you will find a lot of living things. Now, after the near shore zone is the open sea. This is the wide area of the sea. When you look out, you can see further. That is the open sea. And the deep sea zone, which is the last one, after the open sea is beneath the ocean, the depth, under the sea. This is where no light, or very little light or no light is there, and very few living creatures. Okay, let's have a look at, I'll give you 1 minute for your pictures that you have brought. You can write that down. If you brought samples, where would you find that? And the pictures that you have brought. 1 minute. Or when you finish, you can sit up straight so I know you're finished. Yeah, pictures. You can see short and long. I'll walk with that. I can see. When you see the table now, I'll explain. All right, let's go through to our pictures and identify which of that. We'll have one group to present what they have written down, where they have placed each of those living creatures under the 4 zones that we talked about. Who's ready to present their group, for their group or on behalf of their group? Okay, Evelyn. Evelyn. Okay, your member, one of your member, you or somebody in your group. Right, we'll have 2 only. Evelyn's group and Isaac.
Okay, jellyfish is found in a deep sea zone.
What about the rest of the pictures? Okay, they gave us only jellyfish. Who would like to do? Okay, Shannon. Will Shannon tell us where you put all those animals? Where?
Jellyfish is found in open sea zone.
What about the other animals?
Tuna and lobster are found in open sea zone.
Mm-hmm.
Deep sea zone are sea.
All right. Eyes to the front. Here. Eyes to the front. We have already divided our papers in the front. So we have tidal, intertidal. Intertidal, what kind of animals do we find there? Oh, sea creatures. Intertidal we find seaweed. Why is seaweed there? Oh, sorry, seaweed. Seaweed. It's seaweed, not seedweed. We also find, the names of the animals that we looked at in our picture. Okay? Isaac?
Shell.
Shells. Okay, shells. Any others? Okay, we have sea urchin. Check yes if you have that sea urchin. Near shore zone. That's the one we looked at in our picture. Yes, Ruth?
Nautilus.
Nautilus? Oh. No. But thank you for your answer. Good try. Let's have a look at the third one. Our third one. Example of an open sea zone. One that we always like to eat when we buy it at the store. What? Tuna. It swims out in the open sea. And deep sea zone, that's when your answer comes in, Ruthie. Whale shark will be found in the open sea. All right, we'll go through with the rest of the animal creatures of the sea in the 4 zones after in our free time. Let's have a look at our 2 questions and our summary. Our 2 questions. Why can't living things found in near sea zone live in deep sea? So why can't a cucumber, sea cucumber, that lives in a near sea zone cannot live in a deep sea zone? Or let's say, why can't seaweed grow in deep sea zone? Begley?
Because it's a plant, so the seaweed need light. So it live on near the seashore.
So it can have, what will it have? So it can receive sunlight. Very good. What about tuna? Why cannot it live in the deep sea zone? Or what about the butterfly fish or the clownfish? Or sometimes you see fish that cannot live in the deep sea zone. Clement, last one.
Because the body are not suitable for that area.
Very good. That is one good answer. Because their body is not suitable for that area. And what else? Their body is not suitable for that area. What else?
Because they need sunlight to live on sea zone.
On sea? All right, they also need sunlight, yes. And most importantly, they need what? A lot of food. So they need to swim around in the open and feed on other small living things. Next, second question. Can the living things move from one zone to another? If yes, why? I'll leave it with you for your homework, to think about it and answer in your next lesson. Can living things move from one zone to another? So can a sea creature move from one zone to another, from intertidal to near sea zone, or from open sea to intertidal? Can they move from one zone to another? If yes, why? All right, our summary. We have one summary point for you to copy down. Our key phrase for today. Could the class read our key phrase for today? Thank you. We looked at sea community and what it lives in there. Our next lesson will be on freshwater community. So receiving students and teachers, if you have pictures of that, freshwater living things you may bring for your class. The materials that you will require, teachers, please prepare data sheet, or you can formulate your own pictures as mentioned. And if you have a pond or a creek or pool that has living creatures around it, you may select that, but should be suitable for your lesson. All right, with that, thank you, class, receiving teachers and students for your cooperation. You're most welcome.